Welcome to Feel Good Fridays here on NECAT Network, where we discuss people and things that make us feel good right here in Nashville. I'm your host, Cameron McCassin, and joining me today as co-host is NECAT board member Willie Sim Jr., who we all lovingly call Big Fella. Our guest today is Eden Murray, CEO of Operation Stand Down Tennessee, which provides veterans and their families with comprehensive resources focused on transition, employment, housing, benefits, peer engagement, volunteerism, and connection to the community. I'm excited to have you both here on the show. Welcome.
What's going on, Cameron?
It's great to be here, Cameron, and awesome to be able to talk about our great organization.
Well, let's just jump right into that, Eden. Tell me a little bit about your organization and when you started and what you're all about.
Absolutely. So Operation Stand Down Tennessee has been around for 27 plus years. And so we've got a great history here in Middle Tennessee. Our headquarters is in Nashville, and we also have an office in Clarksville. We started out as an organization primarily targeting to assist homeless veterans, but we have evolved into assisting veterans or just connecting with veterans. And so I would say right now that we really have three buckets of wraparound services. The first one is connection. We're going to connect veterans with each other, with their community, with their VA benefits, with their GI Bill, whatever they need. And so connection is really a big piece of what we do. The other thing we do is we're going to help you transition back into civilian life. Reintegration can be hard. And so we want that to be successful for you. And we want veterans to not just find their next job, but their next career. And so there's a lot of things that fold into transition. And the active duty member is not the only person who transitions. The whole family can too. So there's things that we can help with that in a variety of different ways. And then the last bucket of assistance that we provide is really around crisis. And so is there a veteran experiencing some kind of crisis in their life? Are they having some trouble with their housing? Are they having trouble paying their bills? Especially with COVID now, we're seeing some of that come through, whether either they've lost the job, they're furloughed or whatever. And so that crisis intervention is a really big piece of what we do. And so that's kind of us in a nutshell. And there are programs that branch out from that we can chat more about.
Wonderful. So tell me a little bit more about this as far as like, when a soldier's coming out, what are some of the top things that they are worried about? I mean, like, because I would imagine if you're so used to having a structured life that the military provides for you, and you have to go into civilian life, how do most people transition with that? I mean, obviously some better than others, but how do you work with them to make that life a reality?
Right. So the first thing we want to do is catch everybody early and make sure that those fears and those anxieties, we can say, yeah, we got you. We got your six. We're going to help you with everything there is. When you transition out of the military, for a lot of us, it's a change in geography, a change in function, a change in status, a change in industry, all of that. For instance, I flew airplanes in the Air Force, and now I'm working in a nonprofit. That's a fairly big change. How do you transition into that? How do we help you with that? Is that what I wanted to do? Is that something someone else wants to do? What do you want your next career to be? My husband flew airplanes in the Air Force, and he flew for American Airlines. That was a pretty easy transition. Trees get little, trees get big. Airplanes do the same thing. A little bit different entering the nonprofit world. So we're going to wrap around you and help you do that. First of all, we're going to ask you, what do you want to do? How much money do you need? Where do you want to live? What does this look like? What are your interests? What are your skills? If you think that you're leaving and you're a finance person and you want to fly airplanes, maybe that skill match isn't there. Let us help you with that, that type of thing. And so we're just really going to chat with you and help you do that. And then we're going to help you with your resume. We're going to network for you. We're going to talk to folks. We're going to point you in the direction of employers that maybe have something you want to do. We're going to do mock interviews with you so you're ready for that. And then as you go through that process, we're going to be there for you.
Wonderful. And I'll turn it over to Big Fella here and you have something you want to ask there?
I do. First off, leading off with a comment, I just really appreciate what y'all do. It's so cool. A lot of people, I was talking to EJ over there, and he broke it down to me that a lot of people think that Operation Stand Down is really all about homeless veterans, and really it's all about all veterans. And it's a bunch of veterans helping veterans.
That is right.
Really cool. I don't think a lot of people know that about Operation Stand Down.
Yeah, 2/3 of our staff are veterans. We have all services represented. We even have someone from the Coast Guard. And so that's really cool, to be able to identify with people when they come in. It's really cool that veterans want to give back in this way. but we're also really, really proud of our non-veteran staff too. And most of those had someone who served. And so they have an affiliation for that, and they've experienced the family side. And so that gives us a diversity of where we can meet everybody where they are.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. I have another question. So what is something that Operation Stand Down has coming up that, you know, people can support? Like what's on y'all radar right now? What's taking up your mind space on what we got to do next?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. COVID's been a hard year for everybody. We're really proud though of ourselves, which I don't mind saying, and we're proud of ourselves, and we're proud of our donors and the folks we collaborated with, because we have not closed our doors. We haven't furloughed any of our staff. We're not touching our strategic reserves, and we are on a run rate this year to have assisted over 2,500 unique veterans. And last year we did just over 3,000. So we are still helping veterans every day. And so we're really, really proud of that. As we go into 2021, I think everyone is worried what that's going to look like. But, you know, we're pretty resilient. But the thing about resilience is they talk about your resilience and you bounce back. We're not bouncing back, we're bouncing forward. Not quite sure what that looks like, but I'll tell you a couple things we're doing. One of the things that we're really excited about is our Call Sign Connect program. And that's all about connection. Before COVID, everything's going to be before COVID for a while, but before COVID, a lot of that was in person, but we're really bouncing forward and embracing virtual like everyone does. We have a program called Industry Insights with veteran leaders. And so we have veteran leaders across the Middle Tennessee area, and they're going to hold a panel and they're going to chat about their industry and how they got into it. We just did one with Ed Cantwell for the Center for Medical Interoperability, former F-16 pilot. Last year we did that. One of our last ones before COVID was with Doug Krulin, who's a former Air Force C-130 pilot and now the CEO and president of the National Airport. And so we're going to have each quarter a different industry insight with a veteran leader. And so we're excited about that. And that's about connection. We're not asking for money. It's not really networking. It's just, hey, let's hear about an industry that a veteran's involved in and then just share, you know, what's going on. So that's one thing we're really excited about. Another thing that we're really excited about is our Veteran Fellowship Program. That is a paid fellowship program, and it's a great example of collaboration of folks who are interested in making veteran transition successful. So what that is you as a veteran apply for the program. If you're selected, you're placed with a host employer. Right now, our host employers are the Predators, Smile Direct, Standstill Electric, and I'm working on a couple others that I can't talk about right now. You have a 5-month fellowship with them that's paid. Meanwhile, you get a stipend per month. And also part of that is a quote unquote mini MBA from Belmont University. So you're going to work for a host employer and you're going to be involved in customer service. And you might get a chance to look at their books and see their profit and loss and their income statement and how they do accounting and maybe logistics and supply and inventory. Meanwhile, on Fridays, you're going to do some academics with Belmont. And they're going to say, this is how you do it in the academic world, and you're going to see it work in that business. You might get hired at the end of 5 months by that business. You might not decide it's a good fit for you, but what you've done is you expanded that resume. So when you go for an interview, you can say, I did X, Y, and Z in the military, and then I just spent 5 months in a civilian business learning this. And so we want that resume to be beefed up like that. So those are just a couple things of how we're bouncing forward.
Wow, that's like pretty amazing right there.
We're excited.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah,
even I know that a lot of people they choose to come out of the military at different ages. Can you talk a little bit about that? People that come in that are on the younger side versus the older side, and how your program may differ between the two?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I'd say that the other population that we're helping too is aging veterans. And a lot of things, you know, you hear about the number of 22 suicides of veterans per day, and that's unfortunate, a true statistic. I mean, it can say it ranged from 20 to 22. And 14 of those veterans did not reach out for help or were not involved in a veteran organization. They might be successful at work. They might think their family is good, but yet they take their life. And so how can we make sure that doesn't happen? And that runs the gamut of every age. And so we want to offer programming for every age. And so if you come out after 4 years, your chances of finding a job are a little bit easier because you're easier to employ. You're not at mid-management level. You're not something like that. It's easier to land somewhere and grow within that organization. If you come out between the 10 and 20 year point, you're kind of in your 30s and 40s, you were probably quote unquote mid-level management in the military. And so that's a little harder to place in the employment piece. And so we have folks who know that and work with employers who are willing to help those folks come out. And we manage the expectations of those veterans too, at all levels, by saying, hey, you may have been a commander, but when you come out and get in the civilian world, you may have to start a little bit below that, but you'll grow because your skills are going to rise to the top. And then for our aging veterans, we want to have things here in place. Are you getting the VA assistance you need? Did you know there are VA veterans homes if you need assisted living? You know, all of that. Are you isolated, maybe in assisted living, and you need us to go out? We had a team that went out and met with veterans who were in hospice. We have folks who go out and take food to veterans who are homebound. And so that is kind of an example of how we're meeting the veterans where they are at whatever level they're at.
That's
So
wonderful.
I got a question. So is Operation Stand, is that something that every veteran knows about? Like when you come out of the military, they tell you about it?
No, unfortunately, that's not true. Because we're here in Middle Tennessee. If you're coming out in Georgia, you may not have heard about Operation Stand Down Tennessee. But what you will hear, hopefully from all of those transitions, is wherever you're going to, look for a local veteran service organization. And that's what we are. And so at Fort Campbell, they're going to know about us. They're probably not going to know about us in California. But hopefully, we just helped a veteran from Afghanistan who's thinking that Nashville's going to be where he lands when he gets out. He's already reached out to us. We're already talking to him about where, what, and why, and how it's going to look when he gets here. So veterans coming out may know more about national organizations like Wounded Warrior Project or Operation Homefront or something like that. But we do want folks to know about us. And so, you know, we've improved our website, and the virtual, in one way, COVID has improved our outreach to people because it's forced us to go more virtual. And so now we have more things. You know, we just streamed our 10th annual Heroes Breakfast this morning. And so I think we're reaching more people through that.
How was that Heroes Breakfast? Tell us a little bit about it.
Oh my gosh, it totally rocked. You know, it's really hard in COVID to do an event like that. But our donors came through. Our presenting sponsor was Delta Dental, and they came through with flying colors. Tractor Supply was our 4-star general sponsor, and they came through with a great donation. And Amazon came in at the general officer level sponsorship, and that was great too. And then we had a variety of table sponsors that bought different levels of tables. And so just really great. And the reason that those events are important for every nonprofit, ourselves included, is those are unrestricted dollars. A lot of times you'll have a federal grant or some other kind of grant, and those are restricted monies for a particular program or a particular service. Events like our Heroes Breakfast give us unrestricted dollars that we can use to use in a variety of different ways, whether it's pay bills, pay salaries, or new programs. Like Call Sign Connect is a program that some of those dollars will go to. So it was a great breakfast. We had great people. We had the governor talk about us. We had the mayor talk about us. We had Senator Blackburn talk about us. And we had Congressman Mark Green talk about us. So it was good. And the best thing about it only lasted 40 minutes. So people didn't have to put up too long.
Y'all did all of that in 40 minutes?
We did. I think it was 45. We were close.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I know the social portion of any kind of program like this is top notch. And again, I know the military in general, just veterans, are known for taking care of their own. Talk to me a little bit, kind of about that on a one-on-one basis. I mean, obviously there's the programs, there's the housing, there's the big events, but on a one-to-one basis, how does someone from your organization reach out to a soldier and kind of say, hey, we know you're about to transition from this place to this place. How can we help you? What are the kind of needs you're hearing, and what are, what's happening at the base level for that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so the Department of Defense, the Armed Forces have a fairly robust transition program. The trouble with it is it's kind of a fire hose. You get a lot of information. Here's your VA benefits. Here's how to get a job. Here's your GI Bill benefit, all of that. And so what we try and do is take a little time with each of the veterans and say, hey, what do you want to do as you transition out? What are your needs? When you ask what are the needs right now, I'd say with COVID, our keynote speaker this morning, I thought, said it really good. And it was an ask for, obviously for our Heroes Breakfast, but he said, you can take care of Operation Stand Down. I'll help you take care of a veteran through a variety of ways. You can donate money. You can do mentorship. You can do an opportunity. You can give a veteran a chance. You can do a handshake or you can do a hug. So there's a lot of ways to help a veteran, and those are needs across all of that. So it's really hard for me to boil down, what every veteran, it's like every person, every veteran has a different need. Some people are a little more needy. Some people just want to give back. And so it's hard for me to say what that is around around that. It's also, my favorite expression is people are like, hey, I want to hire a veteran. I'm like, great, let me get one. I have them stacked in the back. It's not quite like that, so that's kind of where we're going with that. So that's how I'd answer that question.
Wonderful. Well, Eden, I don't want to keep you all day. I know you have some other things that you have to get to this afternoon, but we always like to ask our guests about one thing that they're feeling good about on Friday. So can you just give us one thing that's making you feel good today?
Oh my gosh, I have so many. It's hard to say one thing. I guess the biggest thing I would say, and it does dovetail into Heroes Breakfast, is this community is incredible, and there are a variety of ways that they give back, and veterans is one of those. And I just have to say thank you for the last almost 9 months now during COVID, where people have stepped up and asked what they can do, and they haven't forgotten us, and that happened today. And so I am thankful for the Nashville community and their generous spirit.
Wonderful. Big fella, do you have one thing that you're thankful for today when it comes to veterans?
I'm thankful that veterans exist, because that means that there's somebody out there watching our backs at all times. And I'm very, very grateful for each and every veteran and the service that they've put in for all of us. It's got to be an interesting vocation and profession. You go over there, you're in a whole nother world. When you come back here, you're thrown back into civilian life, and you got to refigure out how to be regular when you're actually a super trained military warrior, but you got to somehow blend into regular life. So I just appreciate their experience. I couldn't even imagine. And I know we missed Veterans Day yesterday, but man, thank y'all. Thank you, and thank everybody over there. I mean, it's a cliche, you say couldn't do it without you, but it's like very, very true. We couldn't do this without you.
Thank you.
Well, that's wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and wrap the show up, because that's all the time that we have here at Feel Good Fridays. You can find more out about Operation Stand Down Tennessee and all the great programs they offer on their website at osdtn.com. And if you can also visit necatnetwork.org. Eden, did you have something you want to say there?
Yeah, I think it's www.osdtn.org.
Oh, .org. My apologies.
Yeah.
osdtn.org. You can also visit necatnetwork.org to make an ongoing or one-time donation to the NECAT network. We're raising money through GoFundMe right now. Any money that we raise this week will be split between the NECAT network and everyone at Operation Stand Down. We'll put a link up on this video online, and you can check us out on the website there. And hopefully we'll raise some money for all of our veterans. Thank you all so much for what you do.
Thank you. I appreciate being here today.
Okay, and we'll see you next time on Feel Good Fridays.